Yoruba see existence as, an infinitum. It's an infinity. It's an unending cycle. We believe the existence of three worlds. It is the world of the...
Meet Tayo Bello, a cultural educator known for his insightful and engaging content on Yoruba spirituality and heritage. But what does the Yoruba or Ifa spirituality believe?
What Ifa teaches, if I can't even fathom the idea of having people born eternally.
In an age of rapid modernization, is there still space for indigenous wisdom? In this episode, Tayo takes us on a journey through Yoruba mythology, traditional festivals, and the relevance of ancestral knowledge in today's world. But do we have enough love for ourselves?
That's one of the things that contributed to the success of colonialism.
This is more than a conversation. It is a call to remember, reflect, and rediscover. Hey, I'm excited. This is Bold with Joe, and I have Tayo Bello sitting here with me. Do you know, I was just looking through Instagram and I heard someone explaining something Yoruba. It's not like I understood it, but I was like, I need to listen to what he's saying. And started scrolling, stalking him online. Then I realized, no, it's not going to be Instagram. I need to sit down with you, Tayo. Welcome for being here.
Thank you.
Yes, I have so many questions. We are going to tire to do. But before we go into it, I want to know, for people just listening to us today, or just watching this, stumbling on this podcast now, why do you think they should stay till the end? What is the message and why? What message do you have to give to people listening?
Yeah, whoever is watching,
yes,
and is a conscious person, won't be disappointed. At the end of this podcast, you're going to be learning of things that are germane to the understanding of your own identity as a black person, and that is going to do a lot of good.
So, do you have to be a conscious person first before you can take out of this podcast?
Yes, or you have to be a conscious person, or you have to want to be a conscious person.
Okay,
because
okay.
The kind of things we are going to be discussing today are not shallow.
Yes.
So you've got to have some depth in order for you to be able to grab it.
Must you be a Yoruba person?
No, you don't have to be. You just have to be a conscious person.
Yeah.
You have to be conscious of your blackness at least. So that way it's going to
we have already come into one issue right now that I keep hearing. Look, if I'm sweating, you people see I'm sweating. You know I don't have time for it. Is hot. I'm now in Lagos. We've put on the AC. There was no light. It is hot, so I'm sweating. I'll take a break. Don't worry. But maybe you'll see that I'm sweating. But the conversation today is more important than my sweat. Okay, you said something about blackness, and there is this idea about. Because one day I said it and someone corrected me and said, no. It is in Europe and America that they have their issues. That's where they start saying these people are black. No, you're an African.
Yes, I do understand those who have that reservation. Because truly the origin of the black and white thing is from a racist perspective. Black is bad, white is good. And so we now call ourselves black people today. So I do understand if some people would prefer to be called African and not just black.
Yes. So before we really go into this conversation, I want you to take me to where you grew up. How was this upbringing? Because when I listen to you, I'm like, there must have been something in your upbringing that is different from the parents are just were bringing up children around after Nigeria was independent, trying to be the best or fulfill the ideas of the oppressor, right? To make their children more English than English, right? So I'm wondering, then what was different in yours, or did your upbringing influence your thought process today, or you actually went seeking?
A combination of both.
Okay.
I grew up in very interesting settings.
Yeah.
First of all, I was born in Ajegunle in Lagos.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was born and raised there in Ajegunle, and at 14, I left. That has already done a lot for me.
Yeah.
In terms of the influences and just that locale. It's a very unique space. Being a ghetto also, but I left there and I began staying with my grandmother.
Okay.
in Nisha. Nisha is my hometown.
Okay.
In Osun State.
Yeah.
A very rural environment and closer to the culture, to the roots. So the things I've been seeing on screen, I began seeing them in real life. I began being a part of all of these things you've seen on screen that have been portrayed to us in not so good ways. So my grandmother, being a very properly Yoruba woman, was involved in Ifa, which is the Yoruba
spirituality.
Exactly, Yoruba spirituality. Ifa is the Yoruba ocean of wisdom and knowledge and understanding and all that. She was very much involved in it, even while being a Muslim. My grandmother.
Oh, she was also a Muslim.
Yes. The people of our generation didn't see the coming of those religions as a stoppage of their own. They saw that we could do these things together. And that was almost of them. They used to say something like Imole Onikamashoro.
Imole Onikamashoro.
And that simply means Islam has not come to put an end to our own rituals. So they did it together. I discovered new parts of me while being there in my hometown. I got to know that I really loved masquerades, Egungun, and I love them so much. I always wanted to be around them. And being an art student, the kind of books we were made to read, the plays, and the kind of teachers I had, they contributed a lot, to the reawakening of my consciousness. So I got introduced to intellectuals like Shoyinka, Olaotimi, all of these playwrights and novelists at a very early age. So that did a lot to me. And I was just lucky to, be a part of, I consider it luck, because today I'm very grateful I had that kind of upbringing. So whenever they were doing Ifa festival, Egungun festival, every of these things, I was involved in all of the processes, all of the stages. And today I'm very, very grateful for that.
Yes, you talked about masquerade, you talked about your access to intellectuals, right? So, but before you went, you were young before you went to your grandma, right?
I was just 14.
Okay, you were not that young, so you have already been seeing the doctrines outside. So, what were things that you were told from the outside that they are devilish, demonic, wrong?
Okay, my mom is Christian, my dad is Muslim.
Okay.
Both of them are against anything traditional or...
Oh, your parents?
My parents. Especially my mother. My father can be a bit more liberal.
Till today, right?
Very much so.
And they listen to what you are saying?
They have accepted Kamu. That's what we call it. They've just accepted. They know that the ship has sailed. So what else can we do? Let's just accept him the way he is. So I was raised a Muslim, secretly as a Christian, because my mother wanted us to be Christians and all that. Both of them were really against. They made us see that, okay, anything traditional was devilish.
But how do you think they came up with that? How did this idea? Because it really worries me. Because even when you're talking, I see myself, like my upbringing. Like in secondary school, we had to read Shakespeare, Macbeth, right? You don't speak Edo. If you speak Edo, you can't even speak Pidgin English. In the school. So. And all those things. And I grew up like that, right? It's when I actually left Nigeria that I started saying, oh God, they don't scam us all. We are scammed. You look at the world out there, right? So, but where do you think that comes from, that we feel like all our traditions, the things that are authentic to us as Africans, is demonic, is primitive, is less value?
You see, when these people came to colonize us, they didn't know that they were going to record this much success. The way we do, the way Africans react to their own things has painted to me just how very successful colonialism was. We've been colonized, and we've been enslaved, and it's so sad that we don't want to leave that bondage. There are so many minds today that are in prison. A lot of those minds are not. It goes beyond just religion. Anything that has to do with blackness, black people don't want to associate with it. Sorry, I'm used to
yes, I get that.
So it's colonialism. So that thing, what it does is that, because after colonialism we had a phase of neo-colonialism, which we are still into.
Okay, that's what we are still in right
Exactly.
now.
So
Yeah.
it's a rebranded one. It's even more, more pernicious. Everything that belongs to us, for Christianity to, find its way into the minds of people, you've got to demonize whatever it is they will believe in. That's the only way you're going to see yourself in need of salvation. You've got to be made to be. You've got to, believe that you're in a precarious state. You're in a dangerous state. If you die like this, you're going to get doomed.
So you need saving.
So you need saving. So once you have attached people's very salvation to something, and you have told them that there is a penalty for not, accepting that, which is you burning eternally in some hell and all that. So that is a valid reason for them to want to, dissociate themselves from anything that has to do with their identity and all that. It is sad, and that's the reality of millions of Africans today. So we have generations of people who were raised without a sense of their own identity, because it's not just to them anything associating with you, anything African will take you to hell. So people had to even change their own names.
Yes.
They don't want to have anything to do with this demonic culture.
Then how do you grow if you are already not in line with who you are? How does growth even happen?
It's just Ori. We Yoruba, we say something about Ori, which is your destiny. I mean, sincerely, I don't even know. I can't say this is exactly why I love this so much. It's just natural. I just know that I always want to be around anything traditional, anything African. I've always just wanted to. So I always gravitate towards that direction. Yeah. I can't. So the reason why, I stayed with my grandmother and she influenced me, a lot.
Yes.
But I wasn't the only one who stayed with my grandmother. I had my siblings to stay with my grandmother. So why was it just me that happened to? I just loved it. Anyway, and the thing is, that's why you have to believe in Ori. We Yoruba believe in something called Ori.
What is Ori?
Ori it simply means head. It's a Yoruba word for head. But we believe in Ori Ode and Ori, there is an inner head. That's your spiritual self, what the Igbos call Chi. So Ori can be your fate, your destiny, your Eleda, and all of that. We believe Ori to be your spiritual alter ego, like your spirit self. So if your Ori doesn't want something for you, you're not going to experience it in the physical.
Oh, so, really? Yeah.
So for anything to have happened in the natural, it has already taken place in the spiritual world. And that's Ori's domain. I said that because every of the things that I love find a way of getting to me. I just attract them. So wherever I find myself today, I'm confident of the fact that all of these things, our culture, whether it is about Orisha or about our proverbs or our history, whatever, as long as it's related to Yoruba, Africa, they just come to me.
Yeah, yes.
Wherever I go to.
Is it not also maybe also the energy that you put out there attracts that, right?
So it's interwoven, it's both ways and all that. So I've long concluded that this is my path. This is who I am.
Was there a coming out? Like coming out in the sense that, your parents tried to make you go the Islamic way or the Christian way, and then you went to your grandmother and she now told you, and you really fell in love with your identity. So was that a moment where you revealed that to your parents, or was it just like, it's one day they will know?
Yeah, I was doing okay. I was just creeping it in gradually and all that, but actually there was a time when I decided to, just come out. I called them and I sat them down and I explained to them.
And nobody offered you deliverance?
No, they tried to, they
because I know this experience.
They tried to. Actually, my mother didn't take it. See, now she still tries to convert me till today. She still thinks she has hope of, bringing me back. Because I was quite very religious as a Christian. Okay. So she used to look at me even as a spiritual leader in Christianity, and all of that I was doing out of fear. I just didn't want to go to hell, So
what was your idea of hell?
It's can I talk freely?
Yes, of course, please.
Yes, it's bullshit, it's a lie. All of these things are just human beings trying to make sense of what is beyond us, and trying to use fear as a tool, for
yeah.
manipulation and controlling people and all of that. It's a lie.
Yeah.
It's a lie. It's a big lie. There's no such thing as hell or paradise or anything.
But what does the Yoruba or Ifa spirituality believe?
What Ifa teaches, if I can't even fathom the idea of having people born eternally, and it's just Ifa teaches, Yoruba believe that we don't really even believe in an afterlife in the sense that we have it in Christianity.
Yeah.
Yoruba see existence as an infinitum. It's an infinity. It's an unending cycle. So we believe in 3 worlds. We believe in the existence of 3 worlds. It is the world of the unborn, the world of the living, which we are in, and the world of the ancestors.
Okay.
So before you came here, you were from a world
of the unborn.
Yes.
Are they interconnected?
Exactly.
Okay.
So death and birth being the passage. So by birth, we came into the world of the living, and through death, you are going to pass into the world of the unborn. You become an ancestor, and on goes that cycle.
Which means, does it then suggest that one can be reincarnated?
Exactly. That's why we've got names like Babatunde. We've got names like Iyabo. I'm sure you must have heard.
Yeah, I've heard those names. What do they mean?
Yetunde means mother has returned.
Oh, okay.
So if I have a grandmother, if there was a grandmother who just passed and a female child gets born afterwards, we believe that is the mother who has returned. Especially in many cases, you're going to see the newborn having some qualities of
the grandma.
Physical. It could be mannerism wise. Or anything. You're just going to see your grandmother in this child. Yoruba, we don't just dismiss it all to just genetics and all that. We believe that is that woman, that is that mother who has returned. And so we give her names like Iyabo, Yejide, have Yetunde, Yewande, and all of that. So if it's a male, you can have Babatunde, Babajide, Babarinde, and all of those words. So there's no such thing as either heaven or hell in Yoruba belief system. No. If you Yoruba believe in, of course there are repercussions, what's it called? You reaping the...
Is there consequences?
Consequences for your actions. All of those things are limited to this world. There's no such thing as one big guy waiting to, judge
to punish you or judge you, or...
billions of people will line up and they'll be coming one by one.
Yes, and you're putting a picture to it, because this is what I also... Then the trumpet...
How is this supposed to happen? I mean, there's a big screen where you're going to be looking at your life, is that all you have done...
With digital technology.
Exactly. Over there. I mean, it has to be a very large...
But we believe we bought into this, and millions of people around the world
because of fear. That's what fear does.
Or is it fear only? Is it also
fear
maybe
and
because
incentives? Fear and reward and greed. They're just tapping into the greed of human beings.
Yeah.
That's
or maybe
why
uncertainty, because
or
a reason to, because if you wake up every day without the belief of a higher force, then what's the point?
That's the thing. There is a huge difference between spirituality and religion. So not believing in religion has got nothing to do. It doesn't affect in any way your belief in the higher force. We were born like that as human beings. You raise a child in isolation, that child is going to grow up believing in a higher force because it's a natural thing. So spirituality is simply just recognizing the existence of something bigger than you. Knowing that you are a part of something really huge, something you can never really fathom in the natural. And given for anybody who is spiritually sensitive, you must have had encounters, you must have seen things about this world that will just convince you that no, everything is not limited to the natural eyes. That's all. Just, I mean, that entity you believe in, you may call it God, others may call it Olodumare, some may call it Jehovah, others may call it Allah. We're not talking about the same thing. Or Sanoba or Bangiji, we're not talking about the same things really. It's just a part of you that connects with, a force. Some may call it the universe, some may call it Mother Nature, or anything. There is obviously something really bigger than us.
That you as a being, you are not the highest force. That there
exactly.
is,
And this entity is conscious. It's got a mind, and it's deliberate about the things it does, and it means well for you or not. But you believe in that. That can happen without Christianity, without Islam.
So
without,
without organizing, like, so that what I'm hearing is like religion is the trial to
organizational
organize
aspect of it
spirituality.
is exactly when it
Yeah.
gets organized, it becomes messed up. It's supposed to be 100% personal. Nobody should meddle into it. Shouldn't government? It should be no business of the government.
Yeah.
It should be no. We shouldn't. I mean, it's not totally bad. It's not a wrong thing to religion now to gather yourselves and have a community.
Yeah, community.
It's not a wrong thing and all that.
Community.
But in most cases, they breed very, very nefarious things they threaten the peace of humanity. Especially when you've got imperialistic religions like Christianity who want to take over the world. They believe in proselytizing. Imagine looking at you and all I'm saying is a candidate for hell just because you don't share my faith. That's what Christianity teaches me to do. It teaches me to look at my grandmother, who I lived with for so many years, who did a lot of good things to me, who I couldn't really fault. I mean, and because I'm a Christian, I have to believe that she must go to hell and burn. It's not a good state of mind.
It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't. The fact that I'm looking at a fellow human being and I actually made peace with the fact that this person is going to burn eternally just for not sharing my own.
But that's why you get evangelized. That's why there's evangelism.
That's why these religions are dangerous. Because you are proselytizing. I personally see evangelism as an insult. If I come to you, because I've done it before,
Okay.
if I come to you and I evangelize to you, okay, I have a good news, the gospel of Christ, accept it so that you don't go to hell. For me, it's an insult. It means I looked at you and I just concluded that this is somebody who is doomed. So I'm in a better position to come save.
Yes, it's a supremacy approach.
It's it means that I'm above you. I'm superior
exactly.
to you.
Yeah.
So I want to elevate you. I want to do you a favor.
Yeah.
I don't like that way of thinking.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, I'm beginning to understand it better now. And then why do you think, or better phrased, how can we start to go closer to our authentic spirituality? Is there a need for it actually?
Of course, there is a need for it. I'm not against people being Christians and all of that. I know, even though I'm against it, but I'm not against it. So,
everybody has the choice.
You understand?
Yeah.
But one thing about these things is this religion is they actually do bring a lot of damage, to our own culture, which is beyond religion.
Okay.
In Ifa, for instance, religion is just one of the many things found in Ifa.
Oh, okay.
Ifa is a Yoruba knowledge about everything that exists, whether politics, whether personal relationships, finance, everything about humanity is found in Ifa. Christianity teaches you to not want to have anything to do with Ifa at all. Do you know how many things you have lost just by not,
even maybe the herbal medicines, the medicinal parts.
Exactly. Just by not, identifying with your culture and all that. We are trying to. We are being made as like travesties of white people. We are not caricatures of white people. We have Africans who are trying to be white.
Oh yes, yes.
So that that's what Christianity does to you. You've got to dress the part. You've got to look them. You have to speak like them. You have to think like them. You have lost everything there. And at the end of the day, what is a man without his identity? So you have been given a false identity. I don't want to have children whom I can't, parent as Yoruba people, as Africans. I don't want to have a lot of all of these foreign ways so enmeshed in my own base that everything now looks so foreign to me.
Like you lose yourself.
Yes. So when and these things are affecting us in ways we may not realize.
Like how?
Many months later, because for instance, in Yoruba land, there is a way we do naming ceremony, ikomo. And when you check all of these things, some just dismiss all of them as fetish and all that. For instance, there's a taboo when a child has been born, the child is not supposed to be taken out for a number of days at all. No outsider should have anything to do with that child. Just the parents and very close relatives. The child shouldn't even be taken out. When the child gets taken out, that's what we call ikomo. And that simply means the launching of a child. child into the outer world. Today, many people don't. And when you check that, check it with the scientific understanding of treating babies, and it's all scientific. When the child is newly born, the child's immune system is weak. When you just introduce, in fact, starting from pregnancy, the woman is limited. Her public appearances are limited, and all that. This is something our ancestors knew and practiced. Today, because of Christianity, none of those things are being observed. And look at the kind of people are giving birth to these days. You understand? We are having problems. Now, when we do Ikomo, the child's naming ceremony, there are things we use as Iwure, pronouncement of blessings into the child's life. We use things like honey, like the kola nut, salt, water, alcohol. We use all of these things. These are pure natural elements, and then we use them. We use the earth to pray for a child. You do that today, somebody will call you a fetish person.
Yes. But what is actually fetish about it? Because everything exists in nature.
If the same thing has happened in a church, that would have been holy.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay. If I go to a pastor and he gives me some oil, some olive oil, anointing oil, so he gives it to me to drink and do that, nobody will have any problem with that. That's not fetish. But if it was an Ifa priest,
so it's indoctrination that we've received.
It's just brainwashing.
Yeah.
Really. Many people don't like to hear it, but that is what it is. Those who did it knew exactly what they did. For anything, and the same thing I would do if I want to convert you, I want you to start thinking like me. I have to convince you that what you're doing is wrong, what you're doing is bad, it's not good for you. So that's the only way. That's the only way I can get you to.
Okay, so the enslavement era is over. The colonial time is over. We now live. The white man is gone. I'm just assuming now. The white man is gone, and we have ourselves here, 1.something billion Africans. And I've not even included the ones that are in the diaspora. Why can't we still connect back? Why can't we still bring back our narrative, our stories, our identity, our spirituality, our practices, our generational knowledge? Why can't we still somehow try and strive to bring that back?
Yeah, because like I said earlier on, colonialism is far more successful than what many people imagine. To break loose, what happened? We were enslaved for centuries, 400 years. After which we got colonized for centuries more, and now we are in a phase called neo-colonialism. It has never ended. The journey and all that is still the same. It's just happening in different forms and all that. So people's minds are still entrapped. People's minds are still enslaved. That is why it's far worse than we are saying. That's why it's difficult for people to break. It's happening gradually. There's a reawakening. There is a renaissance going on. We are feeling the wave. People are beginning to wake up to the fact that these guys are just scamming us. But it's going to take for instance, when we talk about slavery, some people like to sound like, you stop blaming everything on slavery. That happened many years ago. We've moved past that now. You're kidding. In the next 500 years, we have not overcome what happened to us during slave trade. You know what really happened to us? For hundreds of years, we had our people, the best of us, the best brains, the best bodies. All of them were constantly kidnapped and taken away for hundreds of years. You got depopulated constantly for hundreds of years. Your resources, your human resources, your natural resources, everything, all of them just being packed from a land. And for how long have we been independent? Not even up to 100 years.
Yeah, it's not up to 100 years. So
you want us to
overcome that trauma.
We are still in a shock right now. It's going to take a long.
Like stages of grief. We've not even passed the anger.
We are still even. We haven't. So what are you talking about?
That's true. I've not even looked at it from that perspective.
We got enslaved for hundreds of years.
Yes.
The atrocities, all of those things happened for hundreds. Whoever lives longest among us can live 200 years. That happened for more than 200 years, more than 300 years. After which we got colonized. Colonialism is, instead of taking them to our own land, let us come to their own land now and govern them on their lands. They came here, they brought their churches, their schools, their literature, their dressings, their language, everything. They turned us to caricatures of them. They turned us to copycats of them. We now speak their language today. We dress like them. We eat like them. Everything we do, is modeled after their own world.
Yes.
We are still in that stage. And then we talk about slavery and its effect. And so people are trying to make us feel like we are just trying to blame it all on slavery.
Yeah, well, I think the idea there is like, because it's a double-edged sword, right? If we keep referring to the situation of things right now not working in many parts, if we keep putting that responsibility on slavery and the colonial era, then somehow we're excusing the mismanagement of our administrators or the people we so-called elected. Yeah, that's maybe the thought process there. But really listening to you from the looking at a timeline, look at it more in a bigger picture timeline. If the trauma has been like so much,
the bigger picture is
we've
what
not
there
even
is the mismanagement of our leaders. There's the corruption. That one is a known. Is a constant. I mean, everybody knows that. But there's a much more bigger picture. We are all in. How do I put it now? It's like we are in a system, that outlives a lot of us. I mean, that is older than. So there is that. And I understand those who say, okay, when the issue is about the corruption of the leaders, let us face that and not just try to blame it all on colonial masters and all that. There is that. But whatever, I mean, what that bigger picture affects every other thing. So let's even say some people have said things like, if our leaders have been a little bit more serious, we may have I mean, it's obviously we are in situations like this. I mean, largely due to the kind of leaders we have, not just leaders alone, actually, the kind of people we are. Generally,
because what's our responsibility?
And the leaders are from the societies themselves. So the leaders are a product of our own societies. We are all the same at the end of the day. The leaders are not from other continents. They're not from other countries. They are from within the same Nigeria, the same Togo or Mali or whatever. So, but there's a much more bigger picture, and that is the white man's neocolonialism, the white man's imperialistic policies. How
should we understand this? Because we hear this a lot, but I bet you many people do not really understand what does this neocolonialism, what does it entail? How does it manifest? Where do we see it?
The neocolonialism is in trying to shape people's thinking now.
Okay.
So it's ongoing. That's why black people or black skinned people, brown skinned people are bleaching their skins. That's neocolonialism. So instead of doing it in an outright way, instead of coming and just
injecting subtle narratives.
Now we are now doing it in a more subtle, mild way, which is even
more effective. And
exactly, way more effective. We push it through the media, through the literature and everything, trying to
it's more like a propaganda.
People's history, serious propaganda. We sponsor all of these things. We just constantly try to present ourselves as superior to them and all that, and they're accepting it. We have people today. There are so many Africans today who want to be everything else but Africans. They change their names. They don't like to. They don't like to. That's being African is demeaning. It makes them. It degrades their status. So they have been neo-colonized. So neocolonialism is, we will leave their lands, but we keep doing the same things we have done in more attractive forms, in milder ways.
So what is our responsibility, or where can we start to decolonialize?
From our thinking, first of all. From knowing that these people don't really rate you that highly. To them you're just monkeys, really. It's not all about I don't want to sound like I'm pitching everything to racism and all that, but whether we like it or not, that is what it is. You understand? Whether we like it or not, whether we like to talk about it or face it or not.
But do we have enough love for ourselves? Hey, this is Bold with Joe. We are excited to bring African voices and stories to the forefront. The way you can support us is just to press that like button, subscribe, share, tell your friends about us, and drop your comments so we know what matters to you. You want to know all the beautiful shows I am preparing for you? Go to Bold with Joe. Now, back to the show. But do we have enough love for ourselves?
That's one of the things that contributed to the success of colonialism. Contributed to the success of slavery. The fact that a lot of our leaders back then were active, participants.
Yes.
They actually connived with the foreigners to make all of these things successful.
Yeah.
Without the contribution or participation or cooperation of some Africans, slavery would not have been as successful as it was.
Yes.
Let's face it.
Yes.
So we had a lot of our ancestors who contributed to this mess because of their own greed, which is still happening till this day. So it's a double-edged sword, as you have said. It's Yoruba man office by office on. It's in both ways, just like the Egungun drum faces it faces south at the same time. So there is the propaganda of the white people against black people, and then there is the hatred of black people for themselves too.
So how can we start? How can we begin? Because I won't even ask why is there the hatred. It's just a human condition, and it's everywhere in the world. You never have a tribe or a culture that's always
also due to the way we've been conditioned. These white people did a lot of. That's why today there are Africans who are African Americans today, and who don't like Africans in Africa.
Yes, I was even sure. I didn't know that such a concept gives. I didn't know such a concept was even there.
When I got to know of it, I was shocked.
Yeah,
it's something, and I talked to an African American, and she explained a lot of things to me. And I said, "Oh, really? That's true."
Why?
They've been
Is
conditioned.
it like anger about?
No. They've been conditioned to think like that. Their education, what they have been told about black people. I mean, Africans in Africa, I know they are good. So even an African, that is an African American, considers himself superior to you as an African in Africa. They think, many of them don't know that Africa is a continent. They still see Africa as one country where everybody know everybody, where people still dress in leaves, where people still live on trees, where people still walk with lions, in their houses. Africans in America believe that about Africans in Africa, because of how they have been conditioned to think. So the schools, the books they read, everything they have been told about Africans in Africa. So how are they going to think beyond that?
So what I'm hearing is one strategy to begin to rebuild, rediscover our authentic self is actually through love.
It conquers everything. From there, actually that's just it. It's a very cliche expression, but that's where the power is. When we begin to just, first of all, love one another, love ourselves as Africans. From then, you know what it means to actually love being an African. Love, our values. Our world is a very different one. A lot of the pollution going on today you can't trace their origin to Africa. Africa is a very sane space. Very, very same space, and it's a known fact. You can't really. What's that global vice that you can trace, whose origin you can trace to Africa today? Think about it. There's almost none. Yes, you can find Africa being, all of these things speculating our spaces. You can have all of these things corrupting us, but you can never trace their origin to this space. It's a very sane space we have. It's a very blessed, space. Everything good is here. We just have to love ourselves enough to realize these things and to embrace them. And to
so how do we practice? How do we practice love then? What does it mean? Let's start with parents and siblings, like motherly, fatherly love, or between siblings. What does Ifa spirituality or the Yoruba culture teach us about how to coexist in that unit of the family?
You find it, this is a perfect example. For instance, in the Yoruba people,
Yeah.
Yoruba is the only ethnic group in Nigeria that you can't pin to a religion.
Okay.
For instance, if we talk about the northern Nigeria, you can say categorically that okay, north is 70% Muslim, 80% Muslim.
Yeah.
There are some parts in the north that are 90% Muslim, not if not 100%. You know, talk about people in the south, you can say okay, 70% Christians. You can't say that about Yoruba people. You can't say Yorubas are 70% Muslims,
Yeah, no, it's
80%
mixed. Yeah.
It's mixed, and that's because of what Ifa teaches us. Our more ancient societies didn't see religious differences as
So it's
something
not
to
either
rival. It's
Yeah.
not. For instance, in a family, you can have the father worshipping Shango. The mother can be a devotee of Oya. The
Okay.
wife can, the children can all take other Oromila, Ishu, Shopono, and there will be no issue, no problem.
Are
They all
these
coexist.
deities?
No,
Or-
these are deities.
Okay.
You know, and there will be no issue. We all coexist, and no problem with that. And there is this. The Yoruba society is one that prioritizes humanity coexisting. It was a very communal society we had. There were a lot of things we did that was just the reason for it was just love. We had, for instance, in those days, you didn't need to be a rich person to have a house of your own. You know, people would do these things for you.
Okay.
You didn't need to have so much money to get proper basic things done. The society caters for all of that. You know, we lived together, and even when these foreign religions came, they didn't separate us. So in Yoruba land, you see Muslim families going to celebrate with Christians on Christmas Day. You see Christians coming to celebrate with Muslims. You know,
Yeah.
you see Muslims celebrating with the Orisha devotees, and there was no issue at all because of love. You know, so none of those things could separate us. And about as time went by, these things started getting dissipated. And today we are totally different people.
So let's go to love in romantic love relationship. What can we learn, or what are the teachings of the Ifa spirituality when it comes to romantic relationship?
Oh, I'm not too versed in that.
Okay, there is this notion around that Yoruba men have too many wives. They are polygamous.
Yeah, polygamy.
So what is that?
Yeah, polygamy is. It's not Ifa's. Anybody to do whatever you like.
Yeah, but what does Ifa teach? Is there a teaching
On,
about
Actually, Ifa kind of neither supports polygamy nor preaches against it.
Yeah.
Ifa just tells you what to expect.
Okay, yeah, what should one expect?
If you want to be polygamous, if you think what is best for you is the gathering of women, especially if you are bold enough to have all of them in the same house. Ifa tells you to expect strife, to expect jealousy, to expect toxicity, to expect animosity and noise and a lot of drama. Ifa also tells you that with many children comes with many wives comes many children, which Ifa sees as blessing. In Yoruba land, it's blessing to have a lot of children. We don't even count our children,
So that means there are actually lessons. So that's what I want to know. And you just answered it. There are many lessons about how to live life.
There are a lot. Ifa comments on every aspect of life. So when it comes to marriage, it's all what works for you, what you love, as long as you are not harming anybody. Polygamy is neither good nor bad.
Yeah.
In those days, it was a common thing because our ancestors were farmers.
Shared labor
So
too.
they needed a lot of hands. The larger your family, the larger your output. The larger your family, the more your money. The more things you can do. So we worked together as a unit. Every family, we go to the farm. If you have many children, that's a lot of hands to work on the farm. That's more distance. So we even live together in an agbole. Agbole is a compound. A compound of houses, agboile. So, polygamy is not a bad thing at all, and it's not a necessarily good thing at all. It could be good, it could be bad, depending on personality.
So it's based on your choice and your capability of handling it. But
what virtues is too is you've got to be responsible as a father and as a husband and all of that. So if you're capable,
So let's go a bit deeper into the Ifa spirituality, because when I keep hearing now all these potential lessons that you can get out of these teachings, then I wonder, is there somewhere someone that doesn't really know about this can learn about it?
Of course.
Are there scriptures or what?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, we have Ifa these things are very, very complex.
Okay.
But they can be simplified. Ifa, for instance, Ifa is a literary corpus of the Yoruba, understanding of life. So we've got verses. So we have Odu. They are called Odu, the chapters of Ifa.
Okay.
Even though they are a lot bigger than that, but because we have to speak English language, these are the closest words we can use to describe them. So Odu, these are the verses of Ifa. There are hundreds of them, and all of them are there for people to read. You could go there, read if you are, a lot.
Where
of
are
books.
they?
No, they
or you can order it and buy it.
Sure. I've got books that I can.
Okay.
There is, for instance, the 16 Great Poems of Ifa by Wande Abimbola.
Okay.
Wande Abimbola has done a lot of work on. He's done an exposition of Ifa. That's something anybody can. And I mean, they've been translated to English, so anybody can pick up these books. And for instance, if you read the exposition of Ifa, you're going to have basic knowledge of what Ifa is, and you're going to, appreciate that.
Yes. Then one other thing is when we hear about like the festivals, you said you love masquerades. What is it about masquerades that you love? Is it because you don't know what is underneath?
Even sometimes when you know who,
okay,
the person sometimes just becomes a different person entirely when they're under the Eku. I don't know. I love everything about Egungun. The aura, the charisma, the songs, the dances, the drums. I'm very addicted to.
Are there a specific dance?
Yes, every Egungun is unique.
Okay.
Every Egungun. In fact, there are Egungun that this is the kind of drum that it dances to.
Yeah.
There are some Egungun. One of my favorite Egungun in Indonesia is called Egungun Obadimeji.
Okay.
Obadimeji dances to bata alone.
Yeah.
And the bata drum, oh my God, I'm in love with the drum, the sound that comes from the drum. Not professionally.
Yeah.
I do have basic knowledge, but I like to gather. I have
because you're an artist.
Of course, so I have. How many drums do I have? Almost 50 drums of different kinds. I just like to collect them.
I love to see them.
I just like to collect them.
Yeah.
Those drums, when you let's even go into that one. If you want to discuss their science, how a group of people could come up with this kind of instrument that produces this kind of sound. It's marvelous. So for Egungun, a lot. Egungun, I mean, they communicate in a language called Esa. And so it's a kind of poem, it's a kind of poetry in Yoruba land that the sound of it, the deep things they say. And because I was a part of the things that had to happen in the background, so I saw everything, when the Google dresses.
Oh, the preparations and everything.
Preparations and all that. The fact that as young as I am, I can be under an Eku, and people old enough to be my grandparents will be on their head, bowing down for me, because I am representing the ancestor at that point, which is what the Google is.
Oh, so that is what it represents, what they wear.
They are called Arao, people who are not from this world. So the Egungun represents the presence of the ancestor in our world, so that is why, because we believe that the ancestors, when the person dies, we don't believe they are dead. We believe they have changed position. So we believe that they are now in a different world.
Because these three realms that
in
you
Africa,
talked about,
we can even pray to them because we believe that they have been elevated. They can bless us. So as we just represent that theatrically by bringing them to our own world, which is why we drape them in Eku, what the Egungun wears. So we don't see any part of their body because they are not mortals at that point. They represent the ancestors. So every part, everything on the body of the Egungun stands for something. It has a meaning. It has what it is communicating. And those who understand, when they see an Egungun, they revere the Egungun. They bow down for it. They ask the Egungun to pray for them. They even do festivals. We cook and we eat and we feast because the ancestors are in our midst. it's all symbolism and theatrics.
Yeah.
Egungun also doesn't limit his role to just spirituality. He also entertains. He goes to the market. He dances for the people. The people watch and they are entertained. They are loved. They feel at peace with their ancestors. So it's a very genius way of representing the jointness of two worlds. So we've got somebody from another world come to you and feast with you and is happy with you and blesses you, and that happens every once in a year or whenever somebody important has been lost. So we can do Egungun is all about the relationship between mortals and the spirit world. So we are bridging that gap, and then we are bringing people from the from that world, from that other world, into our own world. And we just coexist in a very happy way. I mean, I didn't know any of these things about Egungun before. I just love Egungun. I mean, all of this is not even the reason why. The only reason for my love for Egungun is that I love Egungun. I don't know. I just want to be around anything, masquerade. I just love it.
And there's so much art, creativity that
the
happens
music,
there.
the dance, the visual artistry, the magic, the tricks, everything. It's too. You can't be somebody with an artistic mind and not love things like this.
Yes.
If you really are somebody who exercises his mind artistically, your paradigms, your inspiration are in the traditional things. They're in the masquerades, they're in the mythologies, in Orisha, the deities. These are the entities that can inspire you.
Artists are free to choose how they draw their inspiration. For you, it's like the connection to the tradition and Egungun. So, when you talk about the masquerade, Egungun, as the way when I'm hearing it, I'm really thinking about performance art as a way to tell our stories, as a way to remembrance of our history. And that takes me even to Edo State, to former Benin Empire, where as early as like the 12th century, there was already the creation of different bronze, brass, wood, and metal plaques and figures that were used to commemorate like events that was happening. And unfortunately, I think 1897 was the invasion from the English military, and then they took or looted, this artifacts. Did something like that ever happen in the Yoruba culture?
It happened everywhere the imperialists stepped their feet. Everywhere. We have it happened in Ife. Everywhere when these are spoils of war. So after conquering a place, after reducing it to rubbles, what do? They pack whatever valuables they find.
For them, spoils of war. For us, when I listen
for them,
to
that's what I'm saying. For them, these are spoils of war. It's nothing beyond that. It's spoils of war, and it's superior to what they have. So I mean, if it is not special, why are you taking it? If it's something you can easily reproduce, why are you taking it? So it's not just Benin. Benin's one is that was done on a large scale. It was an expedition. In
the Yoruba tradition, what is like one of the major artifacts that you can say means so much more to the Yoruba people that is not here anymore?
Oh, you're looking.
Okay.
The Ife head. Olokun is not here.
What does that mean?
Oh, it's Olokun is the Yoruba ocean deity. The Greek equivalent is the Poseidon. The Yoruba ancient deity, who is in Ife is revered as not just a deity but actually a royal one. And so every king in Ile-Ife. So dear, in fact, that's a symbol of it was something, and that's sad because this was a time when this was centuries ago. Oyolokun, that particular one, it was cast in steel. So at that time, many years ago, before we had anything to do with some white, white people and all that, we were advanced enough to cast an artwork in iron. We cast it. It wasn't molded or anything. It was cast. So they understood metallurgy to the point where they could use it for artworks at that time. So with the knowledge came the tools. They had tools
Yeah.
that they could use to do all of that. And today we have no evidence of it because it's not in our midst.
And then knowledge is there.
the
Enough knowledge
there,
is still
you know.
there.
So, but that particular one is no longer with us.
Yeah.
So, and this is something that wasn't just artwork for the people who did it. They had their spiritual significances. They had the roles they played in the palaces. All of these things.
Yes.
And then you just come desecrate everything, just pack everything to your own, you know.
So why do we believe that Esu is the devil? How do we call is Esu the devil?
That's one of the, misconceptions that we've been trying to correct for some years now. Eshu.
Yeah.
It's not the devil. Eshu is a lot, just like every other ocean in Yoruba land. Eshu is very complex.
Okay.
But the main thing about Eshu is, and that's even from what we call it, the name Eshu. Shu in Yoruba language means to shroud something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, to cover.
Yeah.
It's from the word shuru, and people shuru bomi, to cover me. That's Eshu.
Is it like that two-faced or something like that?
No. Yes. So Eshu is the is Janus face deity of retribution. Eshu gives to humanity what humanity deserves. The consequences of all your actions. Eshu gives it to you. So what most people, humans, mainly do evil. So if I'm going to be paying you according to your action, and you are always doing evil, I'm going to always give you evil. So you get it now.
Yeah.
So because our deeds are evil most of the time, Eshu is forced to respond that way. And Eshu is also the deity of the crossroads. God Onile Orita, the Lord of the crossroads. The crossroad. When you get to a crossroad, you have to then know where you're going to. If not, you're in a mess. If you get to a crossroad, a road that parts into 3 directions, and you have no idea where you're going to, that's a state of confusion.
Oh, okay.
So Eshu is the Orisha in charge of that part of a man's life where he's at a crossroad. At every point in time, you are at a crossroad. You have to make decisions. You always have to choose, what do I do? You always have to choose between many options. That is why Eshu works hand in hand with the Babalawo. The Babalawo is the Ifa priest. If I go to a diviner, if I go to a soothsayer, it means that I'm already confused about something.
Yes, I need answers.
I need answers. I need help. Eshu is the deity of confusion. In Yoruba land, we believe that everything that exists, whether abstract or real or anything that exists, has a spirit behind it.
Okay.
We believe that love is a spirit. We believe that the words we say is spirit. We believe that the land upon which we step is a spirit. Water, the mountains, the leaves, even the leaves, even the grasses.
Yes. So there is another essence
that is spiritual. That's why we can have it in the natural. If confusion is a phenomenon today, is a phenomenon in this world, it means that there is a spirit, behind it. And I'm using the word spirit. Using the word spirit can even limit, what we're talking about. It's just that there is an ethereal version of that thing, the nebulous one, the unseen version of that thing, that makes the seen one possible. Now, the confusion, for instance, is neither good nor bad. Confusion, sometimes confusion can be good. Sometimes you should many good things have been born out of a state of confusion. In fact, before you can make any significant shift, mentally, consciously, anything, you have to first be confused, and then you do deep thinking, and then this is the best thing for me to choose. The best decisions have always emerged from a confused state. So it's wrong to just paint one particular deity as bad because he's the one in charge of confusion. Tricks sometimes are good. How do you raise kids? By tricks. You use tricks on kids. There are sometimes you want to go out, you tell your child to go and bring something for you because no one wants your child to follow you. Your child go and bring something for you from inside. Before the child comes out, you have gone. You see that trick you have done? Does that make you a bad person? Sometimes for the sake of the kid and all that. So the use of tricks, it depends on your intention, what you've used it for. Water, as good as it is, can kill. You can drown in it. Does that make water good or bad? Water is water. Death, for instance, that's why the way we see death is neither good nor bad. It just is. It just exists. the same knife that you use in your kitchen that helps you to get food ready and all that. It's the same knife some people are using to stab other people.
So things are somehow neutral. They exist. Is what we bring to it.
Exactly. They just respond to your energy. So they are neither good nor bad.
So that means we should be working on our energy, intention,
more than exactly. So that's what it should teach. It should serve to teach you that there are more than two ways to look at a thing. That's what issue is. It teaches you issue can, and a lot of these deities too, because the Yoruba we say something like tibiti la dale aye. That means that every situation you find in life is a combination of the good and the bad. Every situation. So we are already trained to look at life that way. Like when things are good for you, know that it can go bad, and when things are bad for you, know that it can. Everything is. It's not as if it's against or anything. It's just the way the world is designed.
Okay.
For a woman to have a child, that's a sweet experience, but she has to go through a bitter experience of pain, the pain of labor, before she can have that sweetness. So the child that has come to you is a combination of the good and the evil. The pain you have to go through. So many, as beautiful as pregnancy is, it also comes with its own, issues and all of those things. That's life, and that's what Eshu teaches. That life is so. Eshu can be for you, or Eshu can be against you. I mean, it's just.
So we're coming to like the closing questions. Is there like a Yoruba song that you love so much that you can even sing?
I love a lot of Yoruba songs.
Yeah, give us one.
Teach me one. I'm going to sing the one. This is a very popular one. So it's a more general one about Ibeji.
Okay.
Ibeji, Ibeji? Twins.
Yes.
In Yoruba, twins are Orisha.
I hope you don't sing the song that I knew. I know.
Is it Epo?
Sing.
Epo.
Yes. Umbe. Epo umbe wa umbe. Ayami ojaja. Raro.
Ayami oja láti bíbèjì o. Epo umbe.
That's so powerful. Actually, I grew up with that song.
That's so
I sang it. When did I sing it?
Mbabeji rẹ o, inú mi á dùn o. Mbabeji rẹ o, inú mi á dùn o. Ẹ̀rù ò bà mí o, rárá o, rárá o. Àyà ò fò mí o, láti béjì rẹ o. Èjì rẹ dára, mo lépo nílé, mo lẹ́wà lọ́nà o. Tayo Bello ijo lowo ijo.
Hi.
Ejira ijo lowo ijo.
What does that mean? That last one.
It's just the same thing.
It's just the same thing, right?
Like, I'm not scared of having twins.
Yeah.
I've got palm oil. I've got beans. So Tayo Bello is the first child.
Okay.
Kehinde is the second. So please dance on. Just rejoice. Ijo lowo ibeji. Meaning dancing are the rituals of twins. They are happy beings. So once they dance, they are okay. Just dance.
So is there any way that if someone listening today wants to really get to learn more?
Definitely.
How?
They are, oh my God. This song, for instance, if I want to do a breakdown of it, Babeji Renu Miadun, we go to, because as the song proceeds, the song, talks
like, do you offer
it.
courses, for example?
We hope to. Now we don't have the time. It's something that's what I want to do. That's what I want to do. I want to have sort of an institution, because these things we have to be deliberate about passing across this knowledge and all. So I do want to offer courses, teach people, pass across this knowledge and all that, but not just now. There are other things we have to.
You have to. Like, is that something that you think is so important, a message or something you think we need to talk about that we've not talked about?
Well, we've pretty much touched almost, the most important things, but there is also one thing that I would just, whoever intends to go into, the kind of things that I do, the content creation, especially if you are the type who's got very unconventional views, if you are somebody who, the kind of things you are interested in are not so popular, do not be discouraged. Don't even consider the thought of not bringing yourself out there. I personally was because I've always associated myself with, even before I started talking about all of these things publicly, everybody knew that this guy is just a, I don't see myself as weird, but everybody else knows this guy is just a weird person. I used to draw as a kid. The things I drew, I mean, every other person would draw normal things. I would pick cowries, I would pick statues. These are the things that I wanted to draw, and these are the things that I'm still doing to this day.
Yeah.
So I started talking about Orisha, talking about all of these things, Yoruba wisdom, Yoruba culture, and cosmology, hoping that people were going to reject me. When I started, I knew that was a good.
You were ready for the rejection, yeah.
Because I've always experienced it. I was ready for people to say, "Who is this demonic guy?" And so I was shocked to see people accepting what I was doing.
Yeah.
They responded very positively and in a way that encouraged me. I was shocked to see both Muslims and Christians and animists and all of them telling me that, wow, I mean, they love my work. I was really, really surprised. It convinced me that, oh, times have changed. People are now more open and receptive to these things. And so far, I've never minced words in saying what I believe, what I understand about. And that way, I've been able to gather people who are like me.
Yeah.
I've been able to, build a community of people of like minds, of kindred spirits.
Yeah.
So imagine what I would have lost if I was trying to, I wasn't being myself, I wasn't saying things that I really wanted to say, just because I don't want to offend some people.
Yes.
Imagine the so many people like me that I would have lost. So I'm saying this to anybody who wants to, follow this path. Don't be discouraged. The thing about this world is so beautiful that whatever you are, there are many people like you.
You will find your tribe.
Adolf Hitler had fans.
Unfortunately.
You understand?
Yeah.
So because no matter what you are,
yes,
you're always going to find your own people.
Yeah.
So why not just be you and attract people that are like you?
But just be you is not easy.
Just you being you is not easy.
You have to go through so much self-doubt.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But if you can, just move past that phase and be you. Say the things you want to say. That way, your comment section will not be toxic. Because you have people like you in your space. It's a community of like minds.
Yeah.
You're losing a lot. And you're never really going to be happy. Knowing that you are doing something that you really don't want to do. You're doing it just because of people. Why would you live your whole life trying to please
other people? Yeah, thank you.
When you can do your own thing and attract people that are like you, and you are going to be happy, everybody. So if I say, okay, let's gather together physically now, I am confident of the fact that I'm going to be physically with people who think like me. I won't be uncomfortable saying some things because we think alike, we believe in the same thing, we share the same values. Imagine if I've been saying things that I don't believe in myself, I'm just saying them. And then I've gathered so many people that are so different from me, and it's not real. Yes. You may have the numbers, but you don't have a community.
That's very true. Yeah.
So just say what you want to say. Say as long as you're not harming anybody, you're not insulting people. You're not. Just try to be the real, the best version of you. Attract people that are like you, and that way you can build community, build stronger things and all that.
Yeah. So we have one. A tradition, there's a closing question. We always love to ask because the answers are always so beautiful, very diverse. If you had everything you needed, you had all the resources, financial, emotional space, good health, you had everything, you had no worries, right? You had enough time, what would you be doing? What is it that you'll be doing?
When money is not a problem, resources, everything, oh my God, I will just be traveling around. I'll go to almost, I like to explore cultures.
Okay.
So I will just go, go to museums, get masks like this, take photographs of them and paint them. I'll just be creating art, really. That's the one thing that I just want to, that's a future I look forward to, where I can just relax and under no pressure and I'll just create artworks.
Wow. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Just paint as many as possible, Risha. Paint as many as possible masks. Paint all the masquerades in this world.
How did you come into painting? Is it from the university or?
It was just something I knew that I used to do as a kid.
Yeah.
And I didn't do it for many years. Even throughout my university years, I didn't draw.
You didn't.
Until much later, I decided, oh, well, let me just go back to this thing. And, now I want to do it for the rest of my life.
How do you feel doing it when you're in the process?
That's the thing about art. You can never do it sad.
Yeah,
you
that's
can
true,
never.
yeah.
I mean, most of the time when I feel in a way that I don't like, the rescue is always just paint. Especially the process. When you're starting it, you are so excited. There's a kind of excitement that comes with starting a new work.
Yeah.
You are anxious, like, oh, is it going to come out well? Am I able to get it right and all that? But there is an overwhelming excitement that comes with starting
creating something.
Then the process, the fact that it takes a lot of time is why it is beautiful. Because you can stay there and while away hours and not even realize. And then there is a kind of fulfilling joy that comes with getting the work done. When it is done, at that point where you get to the end of it, you just feel satisfied. You feel fulfilled. And you've done something with your life. The fact that you had an idea in your head and you could bring it, out, and then you are looking at it visually. So you are looking at a piece of your mind visually like this. That feeling can only be described by somebody who has had it. It can only be understood by somebody who has had that. It's a very beautiful thing.
Yeah, and I think there's like also a kind of divine connection aspect to it, because there's like a creation bringing something to life in that process.
The art is an appendage of you.
Yeah.
It's a part of you. It's a child. It's a brainchild, your spiritual child, everything. So there's a kind of connection, which is why if money is not a problem, I don't ever want to have any of my work sold. I want to have it around you, because why should I do something like that? And number one, you can't even pay for it. You can't. It's invaluable. So have it in you, have it with you. Just look at them. So I look at some of the works I've done that are no longer with me today. If not that I needed the money, why should I sell this kind of artwork? It should be with you. You should look at it and just
like a museum, so people can come look at it,
see and leave it there. Don't take it.
Wow, thank you so much, Tayo, for coming here, for being here, for giving us this time, for sharing your knowledge, for being who you are, for exploring, opening up this space and making it accessible to us, to all of us. Thank you for your work, for the content you post, because without them I wouldn't even be here. So you've put so much hard work in, from your artistic aspect to the researching, learning more about the tradition, explaining it to really make it accessible. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me too.
Yes, and this is not the last time.
Oh, yeah.
So please let him say it on screen. Keep it rolling. We're going to invite you again, and we're going to come to your drawing where you paint and everything. We're going to follow you to a festival. You're going to explain things to us in the future, God willing. Yeah, is that God willing in Yoruba? Yeah.
It means I'm okay with it anytime.
Okay, thank you so much. So that was it. For now, we are definitely going to get him back into the studio, because you are going to be sending us questions, the things you want to know. Oh yeah, start sending us the questions. Get on the newsletter, because you can really connect with us, and we will curate the next session with Tayo Bello on Bold with Joe. Thank you for staying. Don't forget you want to subscribe. If don't subscribe. Actually, don't subscribe. You will miss out. Bye.
Thank you.